how much I got paid when I was on maternity leave. I am currently still on maternity leave, but first of all, let's talk about how much time off you are entitled to. So you are entitled to a combined total of 26 weeks of maternity leave that is paid whilst you are pregnant and when you have given birth. You must take your maternity leave at least 2 weeks before your due date. For example, if your due date is the 31st of August, you need to take at least 2 weeks off before the 31st of August. This is how I did it. So I saved up all my annual leave. So I took off 2 weeks of annual leave first before my maternity leave began. So I took 2 weeks off. After the 2 weeks, that was fully paid annual leave. I took another 2 weeks of maternity leave before my due date. So before my due date, I luckily had 1 full month off before my due date, and I was lucky enough to go into labor on my due date. So I had a month to prepare and relax and, you know, wait for the birth. So what is going to happen is that I'll be paid for the full 26 weeks. That is the 2 weeks before my due date and the other 24 weeks. I am also planning to take what is known as parental leave. That is 7 weeks paid parental leave. This is based on your PRSI contributions though. So you may not qualify, you may qualify, you may not qualify. You need to check that before. You also need to give your employer notice before you do this. So I am planning, because I have enough PRSI contributions, I am planning to take 7 weeks of that parental leave before I go back to work. So I'm planning to take the 26 maternity leave paid plus the 7 weeks parental leave paid as well. That is before I return to work. After the 7 weeks parental leave, I am also planning to take 2 weeks of annual leave because I have some annual leave left over. And also you have to know that when you are on maternity leave, you still accrue annual leave. So you can take that after your maternity leave to stretch that time and have a little bit more time with baby. The 7 weeks parental leave must be taken before your child turns 2 years old. And the nice thing about this is that dad is also entitled to that 7 weeks parental leave. Dad is also entitled to, I think it's called paternal leave, where he gets 2 weeks paid paternity leave. Most people usually take this when the mom has just given birth. My husband luckily had annual leave save up, and when we ran the figures, it was better off that he takes his annual leave. So he took paid annual leave of 2 weeks, to nearly 3 weeks, I would say, because there were some bank holidays in there as well. So he took the 2 weeks paid annual leave, and then sometime before the baby turns 2 years old, he is going to take his 7 weeks paid paternal, as well as his 7 weeks paid parental leave before the child turns 2 years old. Please note that this is applicable for people who have been working both full-time, part-time, as well as people who are in casual employment. It doesn't matter how long you have been with your current employer, as long as you were working before and you have had PRSI contributions before, there is a certain number of weeks that is set, you are entitled to paid maternity leave. If you have a miscarriage in your pregnancy, so if you had a stillborn born after 24, anytime after 24 weeks of pregnancy, you are still entitled to fully paid 26 weeks of maternity leave, and you will still also be entitled to the extra 16 weeks of unpaid leave after that. Now let's talk figures. Some employers will pay you themselves for the time that you are on maternity leave. You would need to check your contract for this, and you would have to have passed your probation as well. However, some employees are not paying you for maternity leave. During this time, the government still pays you for your own maternity leave, so you are still entitled to get something and not worry about those expenses whilst you have a newborn. So if the company that you're working for does pay for maternity leave, you would still need to claim the maternity benefit from the government. The government would then pay the maternity benefit to your employer, and the employer would combine this benefit and the balance of your salary and pay that directly through to you. So they would pay this to you for 26 weeks off. Some employers have a different contract. It depends, stipulation on how long they would pay you, and then the rest would be maternity benefit. You would need to check that in your contract or check that with your HR. If your employer, however, does not pay anything at all for maternity benefit, you would be paid the maternity benefit by the government or by social welfare, to be exact. So you would be paid €250 per week for 26 weeks, and you would be paid €250 per week if you decided to take the 7 weeks parental leave as well. The 7 weeks parent leave as well. So for the combination of those 31 weeks, you would be paid €250 per week by the government. It is not much, but it is something to help you keep afloat, to let you worry less about expenses during the time when you are staying at home with your newborn. The €250 is not subject to tax, so you will be getting the flat €250 coming directly into your bank account. You will also get €140 a month child benefit for each child that you have coming directly into your bank account as well.